Happy and energetic day, dear children. I welcome you all to the English corner. Children, what we are learning is the COP and the anthem, right? So, we had a situation, right? What we expected and what happens really. Expectations versus reality. Both were totally different, and the reality was so embarrassing. All these situations will happen in our life, right? That sort of situation happened in our hero Sophie's life also. That is what is the story about. Sophie is a homeless, jobless person, right? Winter is fast approaching, and Sophie must have a place to stay. Sophie comes to a decision at last. What is the decision? All these we saw in the last session, and we are going to see in this session also, right? Sophie was moving restlessly in Madison Square. There were certain signs to show that winter has come. So people want new warm coats. Sophie moves again, and he sees that winter is very near and it was very cool. The birds are all begin to fly south. All these are signs of winter. That means what? Winter was coming, and we need a home, very safe and warm home to stay back, right? So that was not there for Sophie, because he's a jobless and homeless person. So Sophie's mind now realized the fact that time had come. He had to take care of himself during the cold weather. Somehow he has to take care. But whatever things we buy, we need money, isn't it? So he was thinking of a plan. What is that plan? He was not thinking of southern skies or Bay of Naples or sailing away on a ship. All these he don't want. He want a safe place to stay back for 3 months. Right? 3 months he planned to stay in the prison of Blackwell's Island. That is what he wanted. 3 months of food every day and a bed every night, safe and cold north wind, safe from fox also. So this is what his plan was, right? So Blackwell's Island had been his winter home before. Now Sophie made small plans to go to Blackwell's Island, that prison in Blackwell's Island. And now 3 big newspapers he took, and he had a coat also, but still it is not at all keeping him warm. He's spending time in the park, right? So Sophie was thinking of the island always. There were places in the city where he could go and ask for food and bed, but that will be like begging. From moving from one building to another building, he has to ask for food and shelter, right? So now he liked Blackwell's Island. Again and again it is coming to his mind. So Sophie's spirit was very proud, and he went to any of these places. He has to do something, and he has to go to Blackwell's Island. That is his plan. Okay. So first thing what he thought is, we'll go to a very good restaurant, right? Eat nicely, and when he is asking for money, he'll say no money. So he'll call the cop and he'll be arrested. The person will be in jail, right? That was his plan. So he decided to go to a very good restaurant. He searched a very good restaurant. Now he found a restaurant in Broadway, 5th Avenue, right? He went inside. It was full of best people, and the food was very nice. the best clothes they wore. Soapy believed that above his legs he looked all right. His face was clean, his coat was very good, and if he could get the table, then he believed that success is his. Then he began thinking of what he would like to eat. In his mind, he could see the whole dinner, right? The cost would be too high, okay? But he don't want to disturb the restaurant people. So he want to fill his stomach and he want to make a happy journey to his winter home, which he selected as winter home is Blackwell's Island, right? But as Soapy put his foot inside the restaurant door, the head waiter saw his broken shoes and the torn clothes, and immediately strong and ready hands turned Soapy around and moved him quietly and quickly outside again. So Soapy turned off very bad. He felt very bad. So he has to think of another way. So what is the next way? Okay. And one more plan. The second option is he is thinking of throwing a big stone in a glass window. He saw a beautiful bright electric light. Okay. And a shop with the bright electric light. Windows are very big and wide. So he thought he'll throw a big stone. People came running around the corner, and the cop was the first man to come here. He smiled at the cop and he was expecting to be arrested. But the cop was asking, "Where is the man?" Asked the cop. "Don't you think I might have done it?" said Sophie. He was friendly and happy, right? So what he wanted was coming towards him. But the cop's mind would not consider Soapy. Man who break windows will not at all stop here. He could be running. So he was searching. The cop was searching for a man who ran. Okay, he ran after him and Soapy, very sick at heart, walked very slowly away. So second time also he failed. Then across the street was another restaurant. It was not so fine as one on Broadway. The people who went there were not so rich. Its food was not so good. Into this Soapy took his old shoes and his torn clothes, and no one stopped him. He sat down at the table and was soon eating a big dinner. Right? So when he had finished, he said that he had no money. After finishing his dinner, he said he had no money. Very coolly he was saying that he had no money. "Get busy and call a cop," said Soapy. He himself is giving an idea. "Go, call a cop. Don't keep a gentleman wait. So don't make me to wait." He himself saying him as a gentleman. "No cop for you," said the waiter. He called another waiter. The two threw Soapy upon his left ear on the hard street outside. They threw him outside. Right? He stood up slowly, one part at a time, and beat the dust from his clothes. Prison seemed only a happy dream. So the island seemed very far away. So what to do? Now, two plans were utter flop. Okay, one is restaurant, another one is breaking the window, and one more restaurant also he tried. That is also an utter flop. So totally three plans. It was a flat fail. A cop who was standing near laughed and walked away. Soapy started moving again. When he stopped, he was near several theaters. So many theaters were there in that street. In this part of the street, okay, city, the streets were brighter, hearts were more joyful than in other parts. So in that particular place, the people in that place were very happy, seems to be very happy. Women and men in rich warm coats moved happily in the winter air. Sudden fear caught Sophie. No cop was going to arrest me. Definitely nobody is going to arrest me. So what happened? The third part of the lesson. What is it? This is just all these part of the lessons are the turning point in his life. Okay, that is what I am saying. Third part of the lesson, second part of the lesson, all these are the turning points in his life. Soapy tries his luck twice again, but cops remain indifferent as ever. Soapy is suddenly reminded of his childhood home and mother and resolves to turn over a new leaf. Feeling a hand on his arm, Soapy turns around to see the broad face of a cop. So let us see what happened. Then he came to another cop standing in front of a big theater. He thought of something else to try. He began to shout as if he had too much to drink. His voice was as loud as he could make it. He danced, he cried out. So now a cop is doing all these things. Okay, Soapy is just standing in front. Next, and the cop turned his back to Soapy and said to a man standing near him, "It's one of those college boys. He won't hurt anything. We have orders to let them show." Cop turned and said, okay, it is one of those college boys. He won't hurt anything. He won't do anything. We have orders to let him shout. So don't disturb, don't think bad about him. These were the wordings of cop. Soapy was very quiet. Was no cop going to touch him? It's a question mark, right? Was no cop going to touch him? He began to think of the island as it were as far away as a star from Earth. If we are seeing a star, how much far away it is, that much far the Blackwell's Island seems to be for him. He pulled his thin coat around him. Why he pulled? It was so cool. The wind was very cold, so he pulled his coat again near him. Then he saw a man in the shop buying a newspaper. The man's umbrella stood beside the door. Soapy stepped inside the shop, took the umbrella, and walked away slowly. So the next plan. Now, what happens? He saw a man buying a newspaper. Nearby, one umbrella was there. So he took that umbrella without anybody's permission. And coolly he was walking out of the shop. Right? So what happens? What is his intention? The man followed him quickly. He said, "My umbrella." "Oh, is it?" said Soapy. "Why don't you call a cop?" So his intention is fully to get arrested. "Why don't you call a cop?" "I took it. Your umbrella. Why don't you call a cop?" Again he says. There is one standing at the corner. The man walked more slowly. Soapy did the same. He too walked more slowly. Right? But he had the feeling he was going to fail again. But inner heart of Soapy said that he is going to fail. The cop looked at the two men. "I," said the umbrella man, "that is, you know how these things happen? If that's your umbrella, I'm very sorry. I found it this morning in a restaurant. If you say it's yours, I hope you will." So this attempt is also an utter failure, right? So the umbrella is not his umbrella, it's somebody else. Children, time is up. We'll meet in the next session.